Hey, what's up guys? It's a Art Book Addiction here, and we're here with a new type of video. So, as you've read in the title, right, these are artist joys, okay? So we've had a month of rants, we've had a month of things that displease me, right? And so in contrast to that, I want to start talking about things that I really enjoy about being an artist, right? Things that I really love when seeing art and just being part of the artist journey, okay? So today we'll be talking about observation, okay? Observing as an artist, okay? Because, you know, when you become an artist, you start looking at things in a certain level of detail, right? And like noticing all the little nuances, right? Noticing, like, you know, people, the way people walk, you know, the intensity of colors, right? The little things that make up the part of whatever, okay? So like this is part of one of the great enjoyments of art, right? Is the observational, okay? So that's what we talk about today. But before we start the video, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my Prince and Patreon if you want to support the channel, and consider becoming a channel member, okay? And with that, let's get into it. So, observation, okay, right? It's, I think, for the artists, the thing that we do the most, all right? We look at things, we use our eyes, okay? And we use our, like, sometimes we use other senses, right? We look with supreme detail, and at the same time, we look at the whole, okay? Right? And that's just, to me, it's just so wonderful, okay? And it could be bad because, like, you know, often artists, you know, are overthinkers, right? They'll look at, like, social situations and they'll be like, there's too much stimuli, and then the machine breaks down, okay? But it's one of the best aspects, right? It's like, how could you, like, looking at a certain shape and you're like look how wonderful that shape is, right? You really don't know why, you know what I mean? You don't really, you're like, but you love it, you know? Look how, like, it's this is this, you know, and it brings you joy, and just from looking at a thing, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because normal people don't feel that way, okay? Not everyone feels that way, you know, like the way the light hits this leaf in a certain way, right? And then, like, you know, normal people are like, it's just, you're just looking at a leaf, dude, you know? But to us, it's like wow, look at that, like look how this light hits the leaf in this way, and then it creates this nice subtle change in color, right? And then you can see through the leaf and see that it's actually what do you call it? What is it? Ambient occlusion? No, it's what is it called? Bloom? No. It's that thing when you hit the skin and refraction. No, when you hit the skin and you can see that it's see-through. You know what I'm talking about, right? But you know, because you could see through it, that it's like, it's a certain type of material. It's organic, okay? Or when you look at metal, right, and like welding, and it's like oh, it's got like all these little different colors, right? And you can notice that the colors are there because of certain levels of burn, right? And so, like, you know, that's just such a great thing, you know what I mean? And, you know, you don't have to be limited to being an artist to do that, but to be a creator, okay? Someone who looks a little bit deeper into things, right? And it's wonderful because, you know, when we're kids, that's how people look at life, okay? Everything is amazing, okay? Every little detail, just like really, like you're like oh, look at these ants, look at the way they march up the hill, right? And like, oh, this one's carrying this one's doing this, you know? And it's like all this beautiful detail, and like there's a sense of wonderment in it, right? There's a sense of joy, and it's like the world is like this whole new thing, and that there's so much discoverability in it, right? It's like, and like the artist continues to view the world like this, right? Or like, you know, I hope they do. I hope you do, at the very least, because there's so much great stuff out there. The world is beautiful, right? And beautiful in subtle ways, right? And yeah, like there's all this like crap, but, you know, like, hey, you know, the ants, they're doing fine, you know? Hey, these leaves, the trees, they're doing fine, right? And, you know, often when observing, right, the best things to observe are natural, okay? Nature, all right? To me, that's one of the great things about having the artist's eye, right? Is that there's like, you can look at like a forest, you can see so much disorder, right? But at the same time, there is order, right? There's like this natural like order to things, right? And you're tapping in to something beyond, you know, something ethereal, right? And like that power of observation is lost in most people. Like they just view it as commonplace, right? They view it as something not so special, right? But we see it. We see the specialness, the uniqueness, right? And like it's crazy because like sometimes I'll look at something, right, that I've seen every day. I've seen it every day. It's the same thing that I've always seen, right? But like I notice something. I'm like, wait a minute. Why is it like that? You know? And then it's like, and then it just brings all, and you see it like just ever so slightly different, and you're like, oh, I never saw that before. I've never seen this one little spot before, you know? Or I've never seen the way how the light hits it in this certain manner, and then it just changes the whole thing, you know? Or it creates another level of depth that you were never really expecting, okay? And that is wonderful, okay? And that is something to be joyous of, okay? Because these things, you know, they're like I said, like when you were a kid, you looked at this world with such wonderment, you know, and like, you know, as we age, we become, you know, like you know, cynical, like, oh, just a daily grind, you know, just just another day, right? And then you lose that magic, you know what I mean? That beautiful magic that is the world and existing, you know, and like the artists, right? Like they're often, you know, some like they become jaded because like they look at the world and like they see so many things, and like to them it's like well, it's no longer special. But you know, I would encourage you as artists to take another look, take a deeper look, right? Like change your level of zoom, okay? To me, that's a big thing when becoming an artist, right? Like you need to observe things at different zoom levels, right? You need to sometimes view things as the whole, bigger, right? And you're like, wow, that's cool, right? Or zoom in, right? Really small, macro lens, okay? So it's like wow, look at all the little details that I didn't see right there, okay? Right? And then like everything in the middle, right? And then observe it at every level, at like medium distance, far distance, and then like, you know, each time making a different increment to a different spot, right? To look in between the lines and see like how a thing is really composed, okay? Right? That's why we do distance checks. That's why we go, like, we go here and then we go really close, right? And that's the beauty, because there's so many little things that we don't notice, right? At different lenses, okay? And it's just, it's fun, you know? It's fun, right? Like, okay, here's a cool little example. Yeah, okay, so let's play this little game, right? It's you know, me and my friend play this game all the time. It's really fun, and it's purely based on observation, right? So pretend that I'm wearing a hat, okay, right? You see, whoop, right? Tip my hat to you, right? That's a normal hat, right? And then shrink it, okay? Oh, fedora, okay, right? Shrink it more, okay, right? Bowler cap. All right, wow, okay, and then shrink it to its smallest, okay. Whoop. Now it's a tiny hat, okay, and now we do the opposite, right? Okay, probably a cowboy, right? Longer, right? Maybe like a sun hat, okay, maybe a straw hat, okay, and then how did they know? Okay, it's fun, okay, it's purely based of observation, right? And you could imagine what kind of hat it is, right? And like, you know, you could change the size to whatever you want, and like it becomes crazy, you know? Like I probably, like, you know, maybe there's a hat that's like over here, you know, like just like you probably can't even see, it's off screen, okay? And that's fun, all right? And that's the power of observation. That's the power of just looking at things, interpreting things, you know, changing the way you look at things, right? And like, that's one of the great joys of the artist's journey, okay? It's just to look at things, okay? And that's like I said, often more than you do your work, more than you do, you know, like you paint, you know, you're listening to music, doing whatever, you're doing your daily tasks, right? You are observing, okay? You're always observing. From the moment you wake up, the moment you go to sleep, you're observing, you're looking, you use your eyes, okay? Use your ears, use your smells, okay? And that's another part of observing, is the other sense, the other sense, or senses rather, right? I was gonna say sense because I was thinking of nose, right? But when you're an artist, right, you could use your other senses. You could use your hearing, right? You could use your nose, right? You could use touch. You could use all these little things to enhance the experience, right? Like, you know, I cook a lot, right? I love to cook, okay? I love making food, right? To me, it's probably like, you know, one of my like great joys, okay? Like, and to me, it's affected my art, right? Because, like, you know, there's times where I'm like, you know, I want to create, like, I've made like food pieces, right? And I'm like I want to make that food, like, you look at it and you're like, oh, I want to eat that. Like, oh, I could just smell it. You know what I mean? Right? It creates synesthesia, right? Like, I could create senses that didn't even exist through sight alone. Okay, right? And like, you're like yeah, now, you kind of get hungry. You're like, oh, I want to eat that now, right? And that's amazing that you could even elicit that feeling just from imagery. Okay, right? And so, like, you know, you want to use those senses, you know, right? So, like, you know, and it could really help you, right? Like let's say, like, hey, you wanna draw on a pineapple, right? You know, often it helps to, like, grab it and be like, ooh, those, it's kind of prickly, you know, and feel those ridges and look at, like, how the shape of those ridges are, and look at a hyper detail, look at it from far away, okay, right? And, like, that will change the context of which you draw it, right? And you're like, now, you know, by holding it, like, oh, it's like this. I know because I felt it, you know, and, like, now I know, right? And, like, just smell it, right? And, like, you know, obviously smell doesn't really factor in that much, right? But, like, when you make something like that, you want to know it in detail. You want to observe it in detail, right? And you're like, well, I know that this smells this certain type of, like, green, you know, like, you smell the grass, you're like, it has that grassy smell, right? And you're like, well, how do I capture that in color, right? And there's, like, that's cool. Even thinking like that, it's like, it's cool because, like, it's observing things in the way that, like, maybe you never expected to, right? And so, like, you know, like, next time you're looking at something and you're like, usually something that you enjoy, like I don't know, like a building, you know, and you're like, wow, I really like the way the building, like, looks this way, right? Look at it in other ways too. Look at it close up, look at it from far away, right? I mean, buildings are kind of hard because they're far, you know, you have to walk a good distance, right? But, you know, that's why we sketch, that's why we do all these things, to, like, observe, to maybe to suck out some kind of substance from just, like, an observation, right? And that's, like, it's so much fun, okay? So, like, you know, you guys can even come up with your own games, you know, like the hat game. Like, think of something else that could work that way, right? It's that constant interplay between observation and thinking, right? You see something, what are the things that you pull out of it? What are the things that you derive from that, okay? And it's that back and forth, and it makes you better, it makes you stronger, right? Makes you a better artist, makes you a better observer, right? You just keep doing it. Fire those neurons, right? Make different iterations, make little changes to how you view things, right? Combine things, you know, how does this look next to this thing, right? What is the relationship, right? What if I cut it up? What if I do this? What if I make it into its parts, right? There's so many different things to do just to observe things, right? That's why a lot of people who are, like, engineers, they take things apart, right? They want to see the little parts that make it up, right? They want to put it together and, like wow, look at the subtlety of design, right? Look at the greatness of, like, all these little details that bring it together, bring the disparate parts together to make this whole, right? That was never expected, okay? And that's really the magic of creating, okay? It really is, because then it allows you to intuit yourself things that are good, things that are bad, right? Things that work, things that don't work, right? And maybe sometimes the things that don't work can inspire you more than the things that do work, right? And it's all using the senses, the observations that you do, right? And, like, you know, next time you find something that you really, really enjoy, something that you really, really like, take another look at it, okay? Smell it, okay? Unless it's, like, something toxic, don't smell that, okay? Obviously, right? you know, touch it, right? And you're like, that's a little, there's a certain way to this, right? You know, look at it at a different angle, change the type of lighting it's in, you know, look at things and observe them and think and keep thinking, right? And just like, it's use that over imaginative brain for the right purpose, okay? And take just another look at it, right? And maybe you'll find something new. Maybe you'll find that little bit of magic, right? Maybe that little kid in you will be sparked again, okay? And that's really what we want as artists, right? And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think we could end here. Please, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check out my Princeton Patreon if you want to support the channel. Consider becoming a channel member and ring that bell for notification. All that bullshit. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot.